Hello, it's Saturday the 6th. It is my nephew's, my second oldest, who is also the youngest, nephew's birthday today. So a big shout out to that wonderful human being. I am here, myself, known as Karen, at Salt and Sand Studios. And today for the week I've been thinking about, it's cool, it's warm, it's rainy, it's not rainy. All this crazy weather change, people coming into class saying they've had a headache for days, people saying, oh, I'm sort of starting to feel autumnal and I want to kind of curl up, and other people saying, no, I want to go out and make the most of what's left of good weather. But as it happens, just the fact that the weather changes, that the leaves change, that the leaves start to fall, if you're in an area that has an autumn, the body starts to be affected, even if we don't notice. So I just started on the hippie, hippie forward, hippie, 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 hippie shake. So we'll spend a lot of time on hips today, but we'll also think about, no, we don't want to think. We'll also imbue into our practice this notion of transformation. Transformation doesn't have to be major. I know it sounds like it is, like, a caterpillar into a gorgeous butterfly, or an incredibly green maple tree turning all colors of autumn, and then brown, and then no leaves, and then ice on the branches. So transformation can be small. Transformation can be, I now take a moment before every change in action to take a nice long breath. So hips, have a seat, get long in your spine. We're going to check out the difference between what our hips feel like when we have appropriate posture and what they might feel like when we don't. In fact, when you're seated with your legs crossed, you might be like me and you might have your knees slightly up because that's where they go. Some people's knees go right above their hips, and then I encourage some sort of proppage there. But what we're going to do is we're going to start with a bit of a hip opener by drawing the soles of the feet together. If that's really uncomfortable for you, make some space, nice big diamond inside your legs. And if you can grab a bed pillow or a cushion or something, an animal, a pet, don't run outside and get a bear, and take a bolster or whatever that pillow is and just hug it in. Your legs are around whatever that unit is, and your chin or your forehead is resting on it. We're taking 3 big cleansing breaths. And just during that time, I could feel tiny little changes in the placement of my knees. My knees dropped. And how great is that to start to loosen up? That's it for the pillow at the moment. Hopefully you didn't have to go too far to get yours. So now I feel a little better in my hips, a little more open, a little softer. And that's the word that I'm going to use today to encourage finding the posture as it suits your body today, is to soften into it. So now if we think about and act on coming forward, rolling forward, maybe taking the thumbs inside the foot arches and peeling open the feet, the elbows can help the hips open even more. Head drops, nod your head. Shake your head, just kind of loosening it up. Open and close your mouth, waggle your eyebrows, squeeze and rest your face. A couple more breaths, and I just felt my right hip open even more. So let's observe. Now if we imagine we're going to roll upward like a slinky, keeping the head nice and heavy. Hands can come inside the calves or the knees until the shoulders stack over the hips. Now imagine that there's this gorgeous light, maybe it's a lightsaber or maybe it's a golden thread that lifts the top, the crown of your head all the way up to connect it to the sun. Now we are seated upright with our long spine, and our hips are a bit more open than they were. How else can we help the hips? Well, we work with our hamstrings and our glutes. We work with our, these things. I can't remember the name of them off the top of my head. But we're now going to go ahead and find a knee down lunge on a hatasana. No, it's not on hatasana. It's something else. So we're going to bring our right knee back as far as we can, and then bring the left knee over the left ankle. So now I'm a little too forward because my hip and hip flexor on the right side are not open enough. So I'm leaning forward. So I'm going to go ahead and scoot my foot back a little bit, press my hand into my thigh, and now I can feel this part of my hip, the psoas, the hip flexor, start to open up. And we can do even more with it if we squeeze the right buttocks, press the top of the back foot down, and the heel of the front foot into the ground. Anjaneyasana. There you go. I knew it started with an A. They all end in an A for the most part. So let's move into a twist, which can not only begin to work the spine and lubricate the spine and stretch the spine and work the core, but also open up the hips even more. So we're going to go ahead and bring the arms right in front of us, lock them back into the shoulders, lift the crown of the head, and now bring your pelvis forward just a little bit, hippie hippie forward, and we will open up the left arm behind us. Arms get longer, triceps start to work. Right hand comes down right under your shoulder. The left arm can sweep forward, meeting your ear with the tricep, and then up for the twist. For some people, that's not an ideal way to get into it, but now we're going to soften into the posture. And I don't mean to loosen yourself out of the posture. I mean more about allowing the posture to find itself, allowing the body to kind of wrap itself around the posture without a lot of thinking. So now my hip is feeling much more open on the left side and the right side. Then I'm going to go ahead and bring my left hand inside the left foot, heel toe the left foot out to the left, and then point the left toes to the left about 45 degrees. Right palm on the ground a bit in front of your shoulder. And then we shift the pelvis forward even more, maybe working to come above the back knee. And then use the left hand to press the left knee away. Pelvis forward, not down. Hippie hippie forward. It might feel weird starting practice this way, but I wanted to do something a little different so that we would focus on the fact that we're softening in. Soften, find the posture. If you're holding on to an emotion or to tension anywhere, loosen it up. I've got it in my shoulders, so I'm going to soften them down. We will come with the hands back on the ground, point the left toes forward, scoot the left foot in just a little bit, and then the left hand comes outside the foot. Tuck the back toes under and come into a runner's lunge. Now here's a great way to open up not only hips but thighs. So square your hips up. You might take your thumb on your left hand into the left hip crease and spin that thigh out and the hip back. Nice. Rather than bringing the hands forward to the foot, bring them parallel to the foot and use your fingertips so you can draw your belly away from your thigh. Nice long leg in the back. Pour energy into the heel. We're going to lengthen that front leg, fold over it, and then peel the ball of the foot off the mat. You get a little bit more stretch. Come back to your runner's lunge, pause. Tap your back knee down. Lift your back knee, runner's lunge. Find that runner's lunge. We're going to take the opposite twist. Left hand inside your left foot, and the right arm floats high. Watch your balance. If you need to bring your back heel down in a warrior one style, go ahead and do that. Both hands come back to the earth, framing your front foot. One more time. We take a length in the front leg, peel the ball of the foot off the mat, come forward, runner's lunge. Drop your back knee. This time we will untuck the toes, bring the left knee to meet it, and go ahead and spread the knees nice and wide. Big toes touch. We come into child's pose. If you want to utilize your pillow or bolster again, this can help you soften into the posture. Bottom coming toward your heels. Perhaps you follow the breath up and down the spine for a couple of breaths. And now imagine the breath is going left and right, right and left across the low back. We'll move into a tabletop. I did mention shoulders in the description, so we're going to do a little more shoulder work here. We come even Steven on our knees, tops of the feet, wrists and hands, fingers nice and wide. Maybe some rolling cat-cows or anything the body guides you to here. Just go ahead and let it. No need to think, no need for the gray mass to do any work. Softening into the movement, taking your time. And tabletop, we go ahead and float the right arm out and up to thread the needle behind your left wrist. The right palm is up. Maybe move the left palm forward and find your way over time, softening into this tabletop twist. You might only get to your elbow or the tricep or maybe all the way onto the shoulder blade. It doesn't matter. You are transforming your body by softening into the posture. Left hand comes under the shoulder. We unravel from this posture. Let's go ahead and sweep the arm in front of us and then sweep the left leg behind us, working our balance. Squaring up the hips, equilibrium. Knee and elbow join together. And we extend. Right hand down, left leg out to the left. See if you can keep your hips nice and even. Really hard to do. Use the belly. Sweep that leg all the way beyond the other side of the mat. That left leg. And then bring the top of the foot down. Glide backward, maybe the arms and hands as well, so that the front of the left hip is near the right heel. Soften. Maybe you stack your hands and soften your head onto them or use your bolster. Those who are not feeling this in the right glutes, go ahead and tuck your left toes under and lift your left knee off the mat. Reach backward and out to the right with that left foot. Now that's a hip opener. Glutes are working. Use the breath to soften, to almost languidly find the posture. All right, we're going to come up to our three-legged dog. Get all straightened and equal. And then draw. Oh no, let's try this. Let's open up the right leg, left leg, and maybe float open with the left arm. It's really hard to keep your balance. Maybe the right foot comes out a little bit. Another opening, another hip and glute and quad and core. And we come back to our tabletop. Let's find some cats and cows again. Kind of fun to just move into postures as I think of them. All right, we're going to take the other side. So this time, step the right foot outside the right hand. Rise up, bringing your shoulders over your hips. Check things out. Do you feel like you have equal weight left and right? Do you feel imbalanced? You might move the right foot out to the right. Then we're going to go ahead, bring the pelvis forward rather than down. Squeeze the left glutes, press the top of the left foot into the earth, and the front heel is like digging, creating roots into the earth. For our twist, arms up overhead to start. They come in front of you and lock into your shoulders. So you're reaching that head up toward the sky for your posture. We peel open the right arm behind us. East-west pose. If you're scrunching up or your toes are trying to scrunch up the mat, spread them wide and place them back down. Use the foot for balance. Use the belly. Triceps, fingertips reach. Left hand down, right arm sweeps forward and then up toward the sky. Keep the big toe mound of that left foot on the ground. Imagine you're kind of pulling that right hip back. Again, just to check it out, take the right thumb in your hip crease and spin that right thigh outward without moving the foot. For our lizard twist, right hand inside the right foot, heel toe the right foot out to the edge of the mat. Point the toes at a 45-degree angle. Move your left hand forward and with your elbow or your hand, press into that right knee. I just lengthened my left leg in order to prevent any injury from the kneecap. Pelvis comes forward. Where are you holding tension? What can you transform to soften into the posture? And maybe the softening comes first. Shoulders. All right, hands down to the mat, heel toe the right foot back in. Right hand outside that foot and heel, back toes tuck, runner's lunge. Arrange yourself. You don't have to land perfectly. In fact, there is no perfect. Big toe onto the right foot, really into the earth. Right knee above your right ankle. Long, long back leg. Extend the leg. Fold over it. Peel the ball of the foot off the mat. Draw forward. Foot on the ground. Runner's lunge. Pause. Tap your back knee. Lift it. And again, straighten your front leg. We fold. Peel the ball of foot off the mat. Heart forward, belly away from your thigh. This time when we tap, we drop the knee down and come into our tabletop again. Cats and cows, maybe a wiggle wobble, maybe half moons or quarter moons, maybe hip circles. Maybe neck circles. All righty. Now we're going to go ahead and reach the right leg behind us. Reach the left arm in front. knee and elbow together. I'm doing this in a different order than I did on the other side, so don't worry about it. Lengthen back out. Left hand down, square up your hips. Sweep your right leg out to the right, keep it off the ground. And then sweep it way to the other side of the mat until you can't sweep it any farther. And glide the front of your right hip to your left heel. Maybe the arms come back. Maybe you have more to work with and you tuck under the right toes to float the knee off the mat. Find where you can soften into this posture to let the hip and glute opener work for you. So if all of your energy is in your shoulders, maybe you stack your arms or bring your pillow under your forehead. Check in with your calf. If your left calf is tight, maybe you're not softening into the posture. That's our goal. Remember, hippie, hippie forward, hippie, hippie, hippie shake. Soften in. As we return to a three-legged tabletop, we open up the tabletop. Maybe bending that left leg. This is a little tough on the balance. Maybe you take a little movement left of your left foot and peel open. Maybe the right leg is straightened. Maybe it's bent. And the hand comes down. The leg straightens out and we return to a child's pose. Hopefully I haven't missed anything. If I have, you can't really shout it or type it because I don't have chat on. Now, just for observation's sake, we're going to come back to our seats. Height. Place the soles of the feet together and sit upright. Do you still need a really big diamond to relax the legs? That's okay. Do the hips feel any different? Do your shoulders feel any different? I know what we missed, our tabletop twist. So we'll get back into that in a moment. I knew something would remind me. Now scoot your bottom closer to your heels or your heels closer to your bottom. They don't have to come super close. And see if you can relax into this. We'll give a little waggle out of the hips while we work our core, our obliques mainly, by bringing the feet as wider than the mat, touching the knees together. We're going to take a windshield wiper movement, but we're going to try and do the knees simultaneously. So while the knees part when you twist over, they come back together in the middle, and then they part when you twist to the other side. So the aim here is to keep the hips as square as possible, so maybe you don't touch the ground. And soften at the bottom. We will rise back up, scoot the soles of the feet together again, and this time we're going to take a bit of butterfly. We're not taking a bit off of butterfly. No. We're just going to drop the knees, find our nice long spine. The ribbon or lightsaber at the crown of the head is reaching toward the sun. And we take our hands outside our knees, bring them up, let them down. Guide them up. I still have my soles together. What happens if we don't? Feet on the ground. soles together. Feet on the ground, soles together. Using our abductors to come up and in, that's coming together. And our adductors to slowly drop the knees out rather than just letting them go. Adductors, sorry, I did it backwards. Adductors add in, abductors take away. So we're going to adduct using the inner thighs. We're going to abduct slowly using the outer thighs. And again, adduct and abduct. Beautiful. We need to move back into our tabletop to take our tabletop twist on the other side, which I had forgotten. So find your tabletop. Take any moves that you want. Not you want, your body's calling for. No need to think. Yoga is, the asanas are about the experience. Your mind might get involved in terms of loosening and dropping thoughts and non-responding, but really it's not meant for you to think. All right, let's take our twist here. Left arm high and thread the needle behind the right wrist. Maybe the right hand comes forward and we scoot that left arm away from us. If you like a bind or something else, go ahead and take it. I like to lift my head a little, scoot my shoulders away from my ears, and then drop the head back down. Let's unravel from this and come into our plank. Nice and powerful. Feel the power of the hands, the belly's working for you. The kneecaps come toward the quads, the heels reach away. And now we're going to see if we can do nose, chin, chest rather than drop the hips first. So slowly lower, forehead, nose, chin, chest. My feet are sliding behind and I'm on the ground. I'm going to take a little teeny back bend. I'm going to come all the way down to the mat. Feet zip up, legs zip up, arms in a cactus shape outside your mat. So your forearms are on the ground, elbows as high as your shoulders, your palms are on the ground at least to start. We're going to go ahead and extend the left arm away from us. So it's coming to the left, right out of the shoulder. We're going to take a fallen tree. So imagine you're actually standing, taking tree, but your left arm is out. Your right knee is bending up and out. So the inner thigh of the right leg is on the ground and the foot is connected in some way to the inner left part of the leg. Maybe your shoulders and collarbones get a little wider. Maybe you turn your head to one direction, whichever works for you. Soften into the mat with your shoulders and both hips. Turn your head so you're facing the right. So it's facing the same way as the bent knee is bent. Right hand comes under your right shoulder. And then sturdying up the belly, we press into the right hand, roll onto the right side. So we're still in our fallen tree. Hopefully your foot is not on your knee. You might place something under your head if it doesn't reach the ground. If you like, you might take that right leg high. If you like, maybe you bring it back so the hips are more stacked. You might even re-bend the knee and drop the foot behind the left leg. Some people will even take a half bind, really opening up the right hip, the quad, the left shoulder, and the chest.
If you're all bound up, go ahead and reach the right leg nice and high. Bring your right hand back down to the mat and roll onto your belly. We're going to come into a back bend, hands under your shoulders, pressing the chest forward and high. Maybe an upward dog, maybe a sphinx, maybe a cobra. Wherever you go, soften into the posture. You can only do that over time. It's really hard to go from I'm all tight because this is hard to I'm super soft and it feels natural. Coming all the way down to the mat, arms come back into a cactus shape, legs zip up. Right arm extends out to the right. Left knee bends up and out, fallen tree. You might need to move your head a little forward and then turn your head to face in the same direction as the bent knee, so to your left. So we'll breathe here. Begin to feel the hips soften so that maybe even both front hips are on the mat. It's hard for many of us. I'm not used to that. It's not how you sit. And soften the right shoulder. Maybe breathing right into it, the top of the shoulder, the scapula, the collarbone, maybe even the underarm. Left hand comes under your left shoulder. Keeping your fallen tree, you're going to use your belly and your left hand to turn yourself onto your right side. You might need to move that hand inward, more toward your chest. Keeping your fallen tree. And if you like, you might stretch that left leg up. Mine's a little turned. Head ideally on something if you can. My head doesn't reach the floor here. And maybe stack the hips a little bit more. Perhaps bend that knee again and bring the left foot behind the right leg. Oh, that felt so good. Soften in. Maybe take a half bind. And now I'm feeling so open across the collarbones, the right and left shoulder, the hips. If your leg is behind, your left leg's behind your right, stretch it up to the sky again. Left hand comes back down to the mat. And we roll all the way onto the belly. Palms on the mat outside your rib cage, or you can take a sphinx, but another back bend. And soften into child's pose. Oh, what a yummy sequence. My hips are feeling so open. If you're feeling anything in your low back that's unpleasant, draw your knees together if you can. Bring your hands by your sides. And bring the top of the head to the mat so the nose is more toward the knees. Loosen the arms and shoulders. You're in rabbit. Opening up the low back. You could even give a little self-massage there. You know, we haven't done any warriors today purposely, but warriors, especially warrior 2, can be good hip openers as well. Bring the hands down to the mat, knees nice and wide again. We're going to come all the way in to Balasana 2, child's pose with wide knees. Arms along in front, sitting bones toward your heels. And guess what? If you have been aware, likely, if you don't have related injuries, your sitting bones are now closer to your heels. Mine definitely are. I'm going to go ahead and bring the palms together, thumbs toward the sky, pinky side of the hands on the ground. Elbows bend to bring the fingers and the hands at the back of the neck. And then one at a time, the elbows will move forward like you're crawling under a fence, but you're going to keep your sitting bones where they are. So only go as far as you can, or maybe you go farther. And once the bottom lifts, you come backward one step. And return your hands to the mat. A quick time check. I do think we have time to do this, so we're going to find our way back to tabletop. 2 downward dogs for this practice, and this is the first one. So hands move forward just a couple of inches. Draw the belly in. See if you can not tuck your toes under first, unless you have arthritis in your feet. Then you'll want to tuck first. You're going to press into the hands, draw the belly in, and lift the knees a little bit. So you have a nice, strong spine. And then you're going to roll over your toes to get to your downward dog. You might pedal into the dog. Maybe you put your heels to one side and another. We're going to move into pigeon. Used to be my most hated pose, and now I love it. We're going to do it in 3 phases. So left foot moves a little closer to the right foot so you can lift it up. That's phase 1. Right leg lifted. We bring the knee to the nose. That's phase 2. So that the shoulders shift forward. Phase 3 is we plant that shin on the ground. Maybe scoot the left leg longer behind us. You are not required to have the shin totally parallel, but you also don't want that left foot under your glutes. Find your, what do they call this one? Sleeping pigeon? Soften in. If I could do the sound of a pigeon, I would do it right now. But I can't, that I know of. Is that it? Nice and soft. If your shoulders are wrapped up by your ears, maybe you go ahead and bring your elbows back a little bit. Draw the shoulders toward the hips. If your back foot is feeling sort of sickled, if the sort of heel is to the left and the toes are to the right, maybe just find a little straightness there. All right, slowly, hands come to the mat, tuck the left toes under. Might need to move around a little bit. We're going to come to a 3-legged dog. And then bring the right foot down. We're taking our phases again. Right foot moves closer to the left. Hips are high, left leg floats high. Knee to nose. Shin down to the mat at whatever angle works for you. And scoot your right leg long directly out of the hip. Come down whenever you're ready. On this side, my hip feels a little tighter than the other side, but it's still more open than it was when I came in, when I got on my mat. My left knee is a little cranky, so I'm just going to play around with the angle of my foot to help that out and spread my elbows a little farther to soften into the posture. Those who have a penchant for symmetry, feel free to come back into a downward dog. If you don't have the need to, we'll go ahead and shift onto the left hip. We're all going to meet in a seat. about halfway up the mat. And the best thing to continue this softening process is to twist. So the left heel comes underneath the right, just in front of the glutes, under the thigh. If you like, you can stay here for your twist, which maybe is easier to soften into. Or if you have the hip stretch now, your right ankle can cross over your left thigh. Left heel should be very close to your bottom. And if possible, the big toe mound of the right foot is on the ground. Shoulders away from the ears. Rather than a lot of force, use the breath to soften into the posture. And we'll come forward and take that the other direction. So we have enough time for Shavasana. So right heel, as close to your left glutes as possible. Left foot directly in front of that ankle, or it crosses over the right thigh. As you come front and center, we'll take one forward fold, double-legged. Maybe your knees are a little bent. I like to take it with the arms out in front, locked into your shoulders, because it reminds you, rather than reaching with your arms and your shoulders, you're reaching with your heart. And we soften it. You don't have to touch your head to your legs. And with our open hips, we're going to slowly come. Don't leave your open hips by the side of the by the waist side. We're going to come all the way down to the mat. I'm going to move sideways for you and find a happy baby. Your knees are bent outside your armpits. Your hands come to the inner or outer edges of your feet. Your arms are inside your knees. You're working to soften the shoulder blades to the earth and allow the feet to feel like you could step on the ceiling. Whose song is that? Dancing on the ceiling? For some, it might feel good to go ahead and rock left and right, or even stretch one leg at a time to take the rock. Oh, all the way down. And up. Yeah, that lever kind of really gives you some action. Whoa. Okay, get back up. Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. I must not be a weeble. And then a flying Supta Baddha Konasana. So the soles of the feet draw together. The hands come to the outside edges of the feet. And the heels move toward the low belly. I don't think I could have made this stretch this deep if I had just come in off the street. Rest the shoulders downward, rest the head heavy, and let the hips and the hamstrings just open up, soften, and move into Shavasana. You could take the traditional, you could take legs up the wall. I'm going to move into an actual Supta Baddha Konasana. Oh, and my cushion happens to be in the perfect spot. And come back to that sense of transformation, of softening in to the day, into your body, into the moment. There's so many things we can't control. Let's give ourselves the chance, the permission to soften into them. I'm not saying allow whatever happens to happen, especially if it's something with a negative effect or a negative decision, but more so soften and open to truly understand what is intended and find solutions that perhaps can work from person to person or even right in yourself. We try so hard to think of all the right things. Soften, soften, soften. We'll find the feet back on the ground, the knees to the sky, so we can roll onto one side and decide, just with feeling, not thinking, how we might manifest this softness or softening into things during the rest of your day or evening or week. And press yourself to a comfortable seat where we will close, as we typically do, to the sound of Om. We don't always. And maybe this time you soften into it rather than, it might start out sort of belting and then it softens down, bringing that whole sense of letting go as opposed to controlling, letting go as opposed to giving up. Hands at your heart. Deep breath in. Thumb knuckles right to the center of your forehead. May you soften into what you cannot control. May you give yourself permission to feel. May you allow yourself to not respond. May you be fully present. Namaste. With a heartfelt thanks to all those who practiced live or at whatever time suited you with this video. So today's the 6th. There will not be a new video and I will not be live next Saturday. I'm actually headed out for another training certification, which I'm pretty excited about. So in addition to being 500-hour registered with Yoga Alliance and being ERYT 200 registered, which means I'm an ongoing educator, I'm now going to have official work with, believe it or not, the notion of softening into yoga, relaxing into yoga for seniors and those with physical limitations. It's Karen. I'd love to see you, and I hope to see you in person one day. Thank you. Bye.